All right, so if you clicked into the video, you know what this is about. YouTube today has decided to remove the dislike count on all of their videos going forward. And I just wanted to chime in, give my 2 cents here, because so far I'm allowed to do that. We'll see if that's curtailed in the future. I think this is dumb. I think this decision has been created entirely to protect big corporations from public blowback of ideas or announcements that the public does not agree with. And I'm using that generally. I know that there will be some people for everything that like a given thing, but one of the few recourses that we have on social media is to react to something like on Facebook or to dislike something like on YouTube. And this does extend to more things than just, I don't like this new idea or I don't like this talking point and I'm going to dislike this video reasoning. It also extends to very helpful daily things that happen on YouTube. And we'll get into that in a minute. But we'll switch over to normal view. There we go. Okay, so here we are on YouTube, their Twitter account. And we'll just get into it. To reduce targeted dislike attacks and their impact on creators, especially on smaller creators, you'll no longer see a public dislike count on YouTube starting today. The dislike button is staying. This comes after lots of research, testing, and consideration. Okay, so I can already tell that the research, testing, and consideration that was made was either bought and paid for from some mega corporation, or they sat around in an office with their 4 blue-haired hipster friends and said, hey, my one friend who has like 200 subscribers, they keep getting disliked by talking about their pronouns, and I don't think that's good for their mental health, so we should remove the dislike count. That, I guarantee, I promise you, that is how this came about. Because this does not protect small creators. I qualify as that, right? I mean, does this help me? No, I don't think so. And I personally, as we'll get into in some of the other comments here, I think this should be an option. But we'll go through, we're going to read some comments, and then I'll add my commentary on a per comment basis. So the quartering's on here. It says, this isn't to protect small creators. It's to protect brands. Everyone knows it. Yes, 100% this is the case. I used the analogy on Twitter on my post, and I said, imagine that the Cuties 2 trailer comes out, right? And we now have no way other than to comment on that video to tell Netflix how stupid this is. At a glance, seeing the dislike to like ratio on a video lets the public know, in general, what the barometer is of the feeling towards that thing. And oftentimes on the internet, what you'll find is more people tend to agree with an idea of rationality than putting out BS ad campaigns like, what Coke did or was doing for their hiring practices, rather, or creating content that is just so far beyond the pale, like Cuties on Netflix, that now YouTube is saying, well, now the only way you're allowed to express yourself on that is to comment on their video. And I don't know if you guys know how YouTube works, but at one of the base level that I think everybody knows this, the algorithm on YouTube rewards interactivity. When you click into a video, when you comment on a video, and when you like a video, when you share a video, all of those things affect that creator's reach and the monetization that they have. All of those things help that creator. And now that you've removed dislikes, which is just as people who don't like to comment, who don't want to log in, I mean, the vast majority of people that watch stuff on YouTube don't sign into, or are only signed into some generic account so that they can, curate a list of stuff that they like to watch. But I would imagine, at least based on the last statistical data that I saw, most people don't comment on videos. Most people probably don't even hit like or dislike. But the people that are the most engaged in a conversation, they tend to interact with a video. They tend to share it. They tend to like or dislike it. They tend to comment. Well, now that people can only comment, that now does not show us if it's a positive interaction or a negative interaction. Now it's just, as YouTube hopes, I guess it would be, is just a interaction. So before, though, if it was, you saw how many dislikes it was, it's like, okay, well, now I'm going to scroll down into the comment section and see why this is so disliked. And then you could get the more engaged person's take on why this is not something that they like. Well, you've removed that. So now all you're doing is promoting that channel. So let's just go under the auspices of this is supposed to protect the mental health of of small creators from brigading and things of that nature. All you're going to do now is encourage the people to be more vocal about it and more incendiary, because now they can't just dislike it and move on. Now they have to go in there and give this whatever 2-sentence spiel, or a few words that just says F you into the comments, or this sucks. Nothing. It could be something of substance or something without any substance. And I think that's so dumb. I don't think they've thought about this at all. So they say they've done research and testing. Where and how? This makes no sense. Eric July's on here. He says, can you state specifically and directly why you are not at least giving the individual creators the option to have this feature remain public? I totally agree with this. Allow me to let my audience know that, hey, regardless of what I say, you can like or dislike this video, and you don't have to get onto your keyboard or sit there and type something out, waste more of your time. You can just quickly click one of these buttons to let me know how I'm doing, and that's it. And you can move on with your day. Give me that option. But now going forward, if I give my hot take on a Marvel thing, now it's now people have to go into the comment section and take more time out of their day to say why they don't like something. But YouTube still doesn't categorize that as a negative experience. Now it's just some generic interaction, which is only good for me. So, that you could argue that was always the case. Liking and disliking, interacting with my stuff is still good. But, it doesn't help the public, though. It doesn't help the less engaged person. I just think this is so dumb. And yeah, I know, to be clear, they're allowing the dislike button function to work, but only the creator. So let's say me, for instance, I will be the only one that sees that as a positive or negative interaction. Only the negative. I will be the only one who sees any negative interaction from that. But you won't know. So for all you know, this is great content, and you should just keep watching it. That's so dumb. And this person points out scam streams like Roblox, I think is what he means, but maybe Robux, maybe that's like money. I don't know how Roblox works. I'm sorry. That's a little bit of boomer in me coming out. I have no idea how that works. I assume it's like Club Penguin and all that kind of stuff used to be. I don't know. Fortnite scam streams, life scam streams, lol. Hiding dislikes is a nightmare. I totally agree with this. Big sigh. Scams are not allowed on YouTube, so this isn't the experience we want you or anyone to have. Well, gee, since it's not allowed, I guess no one will do it. It's not allowed, right? No one's gonna murder people. We have laws against that. If possible, can you share video URLs and DM us, blah, blah, blah. We'll report this for you. This is so, this sort of ratio here that you're seeing, 421 comments to 84 likes on this comment, this right here is the modern barometer that we have to show that we are dissatisfied with someone's take or what they've said. This is what's being known, for people who don't know, this is what's being called ratioed. When more people post a comment in a generic way, you could just generically, if more people post a comment than actually agree with this comment, it's usually telling that what you've said is disagreeable or dumb. More people don't agree with it. So that's quite a big ratio, and the ratio on this is going to be even more insane, I'm sure. So this person says, we could very easily make this just optional. In fact, there already is an option, but it turns off both likes and dislikes. Making this universal is a bit stupid. Yeah. So if I were, as a creator, to go in and say, I don't want likes or dislikes to show up on my account, it just turns them both off, which is dumb. And the reason why, just to get to the heart of why people say this, is because if we know a creator has intentionally turned off their dislikes, we know that that person feels that they are not, or that they are above criticism, or that they don't want to see the negative interactions from people, or that they know that their takes are not in keeping with, I don't know, whatever community they're speaking to. So, for example, if I were to say something like, I think CNN are a bunch of morons, and I post that on my Twitter account, I am opening myself up to CNN, diehards to come to my video and say, we disagree with you, we hate you, blah, 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 eat shit and die. But that's part of the deal. Part of the deal of being in the public sphere is I get to say what I want, and then you can tell me exactly the same thing. You can say what you want. That's part of the deal. And if these social media companies want to keep skirting around the idea that they are not a public forum and absolving themselves of the repercussions and laws that come with that, and still pull crap like this, yeah, we're going to be pissed off, and we're going to let you know. And so YouTube responds and says, we've seen that when creators use the option and chose to turn off likes, dislikes on their videos, they can be bullied and harassed for that decision. Okay, you're using the terms bullied and harassed. I'd like to see what qualifies as that, because me telling you, hey, you're a pussy for not enabling the dislikes on your video, that's not me harassing them. That's not me bullying them. That's me giving them my opinion. Harassment to me is continuous. It's me going constantly out of my way to all of their different videos, to all their different takes, saying the same thing. That to me is being harassed, and even that in a very light way. I mean, to me, a harassment really has to be there has to be some threat of violence or something of that nature. We've taken bullied and harassed, and we've ballooned them out to these ridiculous, all-encompassing umbrellas that basically means you've made me feel bad. And I'm sorry, but you are posting a YouTube video or you're making a comment in a public space, you open yourself up to that. That's literally part of being in a community or in the public at all. If you don't want to be opened up to those sort of scrutinies, or you don't want to have your ideas challenged, then just don't say anything. Then don't post anything. But we know, as I've said earlier, this is not about the small creator. This is about mega corporations putting out some video or some trailer, the Little Mermaid with a black Little Mermaid, or what's that Elizabethan era movie or show that's coming out that has a black woman playing, in a Victorian era or Elizabethan era female. Like we are allowed to go onto that video and say, wow, this is really dumb because this is nonfiction. Like, we're allowed to do that, but now this protects that company from any sort of immediate scrutiny. At least now people are going to have to go into the comments, but how many people bother scrolling that far? How many people bother with that sort of interaction? So I think the then long-term effect of this is that corporations will now see themselves as being above reproach, even more so than they already are. So we little plebeians down here, we have even less of a say. And this person says ratio. Yeah, because it's exactly it. Give us options. Stop forcing this onto creators. Dislikes may affect the creator, but not the audience. Exactly. Another point I wanted to get to was, and this is a point that's been echoed elsewhere, but Chris Raygun pointed out on Twitter that if you're just even casually browsing YouTube, let's say you're looking up a tutorial for how to do something. If you're on there and you're in a video where someone is trying to tell you how to do something, a quick barometer of, is this effective, this video, is it going to help me, is looking at the like and dislike ratio. If it has a lot of likes, then that generally means that most people that have seen this agree with whatever process was done to achieve an end result in the video. But if you're removing that, if you take out that dislike function, well, now I have to have more innate knowledge about a thing that I don't have any specialty in. So if it's something like HVAC or something, I'm fixing an air conditioning unit or something, I now have to assume that what's being told to me is more truthful than it otherwise would be. Because most people that I know don't bother going into the comments and sitting there scrolling for minutes or however long it is to find out the truth about something. And then even then, how truthful is that? Like, it's again, if your immediate reaction is, well, people should be more educated about things. Well, of course, duh. But that's not human nature. That's not how people work. People rely on others who have more investment and knowledge in a thing. And when that person says something that's contradictory, we have a means of finding out if that's true or not. And a quick glance at that is usually a like to dislike ratio, typically. Not in all cases, not in all ways, obviously. But as just the way YouTube works, that is helpful. And taking that out, now it's like, okay, well, if I want to know how to solo, I don't know, a Grandmaster Nightfall or something, I've seen this on YouTube before. I'm talking about Destiny, by the way, a video game. There have been videos made saying how to do this, but when you go into the video, it's 100 steps doing all these other things around that and not actually doing that thing by yourself. It's increasing your likelihood of being able to do it in a group. And what they meant is solo play. I mean, this is the sort of clickbait thing you've seen in YouTube or in videos and on the internet forever. Someone uses specific wording when what they actually mean is something else. So that sort of thing is now going to become more prevalent. People are going to become even more likely to be scammed or to take something at face value because of this. And, you know, if the progressive side, if they're one of the things that they've constantly harped about is people not taking the words of experts seriously. Well, if you want that to be the end outcome, this doesn't help that, because now everything's open to whatever you want to, or whatever the creator says. So, the fundamental issue there is you cannot correct human behavior in this way. The research and testing that they said that they've done, you're talking about reprogramming, you know, basic human instincts and the way that we interact with each other, the way we interact with information. So I don't think this is going to be helpful at all. I'm not going to go on too much longer here. I wanted to give my piece on that. You know, please go on to their YouTube's Twitter account and join in, because and give your take, regardless of how you feel about it. You know, I'm not encouraging you to think the way I think. I'm just giving my take here. But I do think if you disagree with them, because Twitter does not have a like button, you must then go on there and take time out of your day to comment about this, because that's the way they want it to be going forward. They want this to be as difficult as possible for the general public to interact or to rebuke their stance on things. So, yeah. It's laughable to me. This is stupid. Anyone who watches my channel, I'm sorry that you can't have that option now. I would totally enable that if that were the case, because it's helpful to me to know if I'm saying something that's been helpful or not, and to gauge people's interest on things. But I don't know. I guess this is where we're at. So I'll leave it there. You guys have a great rest of your day, and I'll catch up with you soon.